I'm Peter Bourke, the clinical immunologist and allergist at Cairns Hospital. One of the aspects of North Queensland that I've discovered since arriving here 4 years ago is the interest in sugarcane allergy, the pollen, and we don't actually have much scientific information on the allergenicity of sugarcane pollen. It's in the past been thought to be related to other grasses or sorghums, and part of the research here is to try and define the relationship between the sorghums and the sugarcane and to help us diagnose more accurately sugarcane allergy and then work towards a treatment for that, which would be a specific immune desensitization to sugarcane if that's what we find is possible. We did a bit of research in applying for this grant. There's actually nothing significant being done in the last 20 years. Previously there was some minor work done in Brazil, and I'm trying to think, there was another country, I can't remember where it was now, but minor work and no progress. So as I've said before, the tropics are underdone with research, and so we're in a position here we can do something, and so we should. Well, it's an anecdotal survey of patients that I see. Grass pollen allergy is relatively common in Cairns, and a lot of patients claim that it's more prominent when the sugarcane is flowering, but also we're aware that people can make links because they see something and think that that's what they're allergic to, but it might actually be other grasses. So we need to define it scientifically. We have similar problems, people thinking they're allergic to mould because they can see it, when in fact they're allergic to dust mite, which they can't see. And so we're just trying to define it scientifically. Well, first of all, we have to get permission from the cane farmer to take the flowering cane and extract the pollen from that. And then we're going to characterise that pollen and see how it relates to other grass pollens that we think are similar, and work out whether we need to actually make a specific diagnostic test for sugarcane or whether some of our current tests may be informative enough to see. But then also the desensitisation treatment, we need more evidence that treating to sorghums in general will help with sugarcane allergy, and we don't have that yet either. Rhinitis is often more significant by the early teenage years, and that's a critical time in schooling. And if people have poor quality sleep because of obstructed nasal airways, and then their concentration at school can be a problem, and they can end up not achieving as they should at school. So it can affect your direction in life at some points. It can also affect asthma management. If your rhinitis is not well controlled, asthma can be difficult to control. It's often under-recognised by people. A little sniffle here and they don't think about what it's doing. Particularly parents may not recognise how impaired their child is from rhinitis. Adults often know because they get the sort of brain fog that they talk about with not being able to think because their nose is obstructed, dripping, sneezing. So it has a significant impact, and there's a term that's used called presenteeism, where people can be at work but they can't function properly, and rhinitis is a significant contributor to that. I think it would be general information, so I think rhinitis is up to 30% of the population. I've been visiting Alice Springs for quite a few years as a visiting medical officer, and up to 50% of the population there has got rhinitis. It's a dreadful place for rhinitis. But Cairns, dust mite allergy is also very common here, and curiously there's a dust mite that's not found elsewhere in Australia, which is the Asian dust mite, Blomia tropicalis, which we get here, and that's I've got a lot of people on desensitisation for that. Well, it means we can do something, whereas before we couldn't do anything. So I'll be talking to our collaborators in Townsville. Professor Andreas Lopata, his laboratory down there has got all the techniques up and working for investigating allergens in detail. He has PhD students working on this in various other areas such as seafood allergy. But the techniques they're using can be applied to any allergen, and so we can investigate sugarcane, which has had quite a profile. Professor Lopata has also had lots of phone calls from patients wanting to work out what's going on, but he's not a clinician, and so he's liaised with me, and so we're trying to work up a project on this. And this will be a sort of foundation approach to that.